Hello viewers, welcome to Unacademy. Let's crack management exams English. In today's session, let us learn about ratio, proportion and variation. First, let me introduce myself and then we move on to the topic. I am Arjun R. Prasad, engineer with 12 plus years of teaching experience, having trained more than 6,000 CAT aspirants in the fields of quantitative aptitude, data interpretation, data sufficiency and logical reasoning, as well as to crack the personal interviews. I have trained more than 4,000 students to crack the campus recruitment exams. Now let us get started with today's topic, ratio, proportion and variation. First is ratio. What is a ratio? Any thought? We think common answer that we get is its comparison of entities. Fine. If it is comparison of entities, let us take an example. 10 monkeys are same as 2 donkeys. Does it make any sense? No, it does not make. Instead, if I say weight of 10 monkeys is equal to weight of 2 donkeys, it makes all the more sense. Therefore, ratio is not just comparison of entities, it is comparison of similar entities. Understanding this concept is extremely important. Ratio is comparison of similar entities. We'll understand the importance of this with an example question in probably one of the last slides, wherein the question was one of the questions that appeared in the exam. Okay, so always remember the meanings of the terms. Ratio means comparison of similar entities. It is represented as A is to B. If A and B are the similar entities, A is to B, and it is spelled out as A is to B. Here A is called the antecedent and B is called the consequent. Let us understand that ratio is not division. A is to B is not A by B. A is to B is AX by BX, where X is the constant of proportionality. Clear? Next, let us understand the meanings of these terms. Duplicate, triplicate, and subduplicate and subtriplicate ratios. If A is to B is a ratio that is given to me, duplicate ratio of A is to B is A squared is to B squared. Triplicate ratio means A cube is to B cube. Subduplicate ratio means root A is to root B. Subtriplicate ratio means cube root of A is to cube root of B. Let us understand what we mean by ratio inequalities. See, if I have a ratio A is to B, which is AX by BX or A by B when X gets cancelled out. If it is a proper fraction, if A is less than B, then for all X belonging to positive real number, that is X must be for all X which is a positive real number, A plus X by B plus X will always be greater than A by B. That is, for example, consider 2 by 3. If you add 1 to both the numerator and the denominator, then you get it as 3 by 4. 3 by 4 is greater than 2 by 3. 3 by 4 is greater than 2 by 3. On the other hand, if it is an improper fraction where A is greater than B, then when we add a constant to both the numerator and denominator, the new fraction will be less than the original fraction. For example, consider the original fraction as 3 by 2. If you add 1 to both numerator and denominator, you get 4 by 3. 4 by 3 is 1 and 1/3. 3 by 2 is 1.5. 1 and 1/3 is less than 1.5. Therefore, 4 by 3 is less than 3 by 2. And this holds good wherever x is a positive real number and a by b is a improper fraction. On the other hand, if a is equal to b, then you add a constant to both numerator and denominator, the fraction remains to be the same, where numerator is equal to denominator. Yeah. Fine. Now let us proceed. Let us understand what do we mean by proportion. What is the meaning of proportion? See, ratio, comparison of similar entities. What is proportion? Equality of ratios, not just any other comparison. It has to be equality of ratios. Equality of ratios is a proportion. Equality of ratios is a proportion. Example, if I have two ratios, A is to B and C is to D, if both these ratios are equal, then we represent it as A is to B as to C is to D. This is same as ax by bx is equal to cy by dy. X cancels out, y cancels out. If I cross multiply, we get a into d is equal to b into c. That is nothing but product of extremes is equal to product of means. This might ring a bell. Product of extremes is equal to product of means. Here, A, B, C and D are called first, second, third and fourth proportional respectively. A, B, C and D are called first, second, third and fourth proportional respectively. Next, let us understand the meaning of continuous proportion. If I say A, B and C are in continuous proportion, if I say A, B and C are in continuous proportion, it means A is to B as to C, B is to C, A is to B as to B is to C. That is, by using the previous concept, which is product of extremes is equal to product of means, B into B, B squared is equal to A into C. B is equal to square root of A into C. In other words, B is the geometric mean of A and C. B is the geometric mean of A and C. Is that clear? This is the meaning of continuous proportion. Next, let us understand what we mean by invertendo and alternando. If A is to B as to C is to D, if this is a proportion, then the invertendo is B is to A is as to D is to C. That is taking the reciprocal on both left hand side and right hand side. Alternando is just replacing B with C and C with B. Again, just cross multiplying and just interchanging those terms. To understand better, I've written it over here. A by B is equal to C by D. Now, you just take the reciprocal of left hand side and right hand side. We'll get B by A is equal to D by C. This is also called invertendo. Now, if I move this C over here and B over, if I move the C over here and B over here, then I get A by C is equal to B by D. This is nothing but also called as alternando. This is also called as alternando. Next, let us understand componendo and dividendo principles. If A is to B as to C is to D, if A is to B as to C is to D, then it is A by B is equal to C by D. If I add 1 to both left hand side and right hand side, if I add 1 to both left hand side and right hand side, I will get A by B plus 1 is equal to C by D plus 1. In other words, A plus B by B will be equal to C plus D by D. This is also called as componendo. Whenever A by B is equal to C by D, A plus B by B will be equal to C plus D by D. This is called as componendo. What is dividendo then? If A by B is equal to C by D, subtract 1 on both the sides. You will get A by B minus 1 is equal to C by D minus 1. That is A minus B is equal to C minus D by D. A minus B by B is equal to C minus D by D. This is called as dividendo. See, A plus B by B is equal to C plus D by D. A minus B by B is equal to C minus D by D. If I divide one equation by the other equation, these two equations, if I divide one equation by the other equation, we end up with A plus B by A minus B is equal to C plus D by C minus D. This is nothing but componendo dividendo. So, to reiterate, A is to B as to C is to D means A plus B is to B is equal to C plus D is to D. This is componendo. A is to B as to C is to D means A minus B by B as to C minus D by D. This is dividendo. Whenever we have A is to B as to C is to D, A plus B is to A minus B will be same as C plus D is to C minus D. This is called componendo dividendo. Next, let us look at property of proportions. If A by B is equal to C by D is equal to E by F is equal to dot dot dot, then this ratio of A is to B, C is to D, E is to F will also be equal to A plus C plus E plus dot 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 by B plus D plus F plus dot dot dot. The proof for it, if we consider A by B as K, then C by D is K, E by F is K. A will be equal to B into K, C is equal to D into K, E is equal to F into K. So if I add A plus C plus E, I'll get BK plus DK plus FK. That is nothing but A plus C plus E divided by B plus D plus F will be equal to K. Therefore, we can say that whenever we have A by B is equal to C by D is equal to E by F is equal to dot dot dot, that will also be equal to sum of all the numerators divided by sum of all the denominators. Is that clear? Next, let us understand variation. To recap, ratio is comparison of similar entities. Proportion is equality of ratios. What is variation then? Variation is comparison of related entities. See, ratio, comparison of similar entities. Variation, comparison of related entities. When an entity A increases, if a related entity B also shows the same trend, that is, if B, whenever A increases, if B also increases, then we say that A varies directly with respect to B. If A decreases, B also decreases. If A increases, B also increases. This is called as A varies directly with respect to B, or a direct variation. If the entities are such a way that when A increases, a related entity B decreases, and when A decreases, the related entity B increases, then such a type of variation is called as inverse variation. Here we say A varies inversely with respect to B. Let us understand the concept of direct, inverse and joint variation. This is extremely important because with the help of this concept, I will be explaining the basics of another entire large topic, which is time and work. right? Let us consider three entities. M is men, number of men. T represents the amount of time that they are working or that they work. W is the amount of work being done, right? M is the number of men, T is the amount of time, W is the amount of work being done. Let us take an example of people having to paint a room. Let us take an example of people having to paint a room, right? When T is constant, that is in a constant time, let us say in 1 hour time. In 1 hour time, if more people start painting the room, the amount of work done will also be more. If more the number of people painting, the amount of work done in a constant time will also be more. Therefore, as M increases, the related entity W also increases. As M decreases, W decreases. The same trend between M and W, similar trend between M and W. Therefore, we say M varies directly with respect to W. M varies directly with respect to W, which means M is equal to a constant into W, or M by W is always a constant, which is M1 by W1 is always equal to M2 by W2. Here M and W are entities. You can consider it as A, B, whatever. But I am taking this example of men and work so that we understand the concept. Now, instead of considering the amount of time to be a constant, let us say the amount of work is a constant. The amount of work to be done is to paint this entire room, If more people start painting, what happens to the amount of time that they take? They will be able to finish fast. They'll be able to reduce the amount of time, right? Therefore, we can say that as M, whenever the amount of work to be done is a constant, as M increases, T decreases. As and when M increases, T decreases. Or when M decreases, T increases. This is opposite trend. Therefore, we say M varies inversely with respect to T. M varies inversely with respect to T. In other words, if I remove this variation symbol, then we say that we have to introduce a constant. M into T will be a constant. M1 into T1 is equal to M2 into T2. If we want to remember in a similar format as the direct variation, then M1 by T2, please understand this, M1 by T2 is equal to M2 by T1. M1 by T2 is equal to M2 by T1. Is that clear? Now, in a realistic scenario, T and W will not be constant. Here we consider T to be constant, here we consider W to be constant. If T and W are not constant, then we can say that M varies directly with respect to W and inversely with respect to T. This is also called as joint variation, where one entity varies directly with another entity and inversely with another entity. M varies directly with W and inversely with T. That is, M into T by W is always a constant. This T, which is the amount of time, usually is expressed as product of D and H, where D is the number of days and H is the number of hours per day, because people don't work 24 hours a day. Okay? D is the number of days, H is number of hours per day. If you replace T with D into H, we end up with MdH by W is always a constant, and this, my friends, is the golden rule of time and work. The entire topic of time and work deals with only one concept, which is MdH by W is always a constant. Is that clear? Okay. Now, let us get started with questions. We'll solve some questions based on ratios, variations. We'll see. Okay. The question here, I'll pause for a minute after giving the question so that you can work out and then I shall explain. Okay. The question is, the price of a chair and a table are in the ratio 5:9. The sum of the price of chair and table is rupees 35,000. What is the price of chair and what is the price of table? Okay. See, to the extent possible, we should avoid using variables and fractions. Okay. We should avoid using variables and fractions to the extent possible. It will make our life easy and simple. That's the golden rule again in mathematics. Avoid variables, avoid fractions, right? Chair, the price of chair to table is in the ratio 5:9. That means if the chair cost me 5 units, then the table would cost me 9 units and the total would be 14 units. 5 plus 9, 14 units. This 14 units is 35,000 rupees. This 14 units is 35,000 rupees. That means 1 unit is how much? 35,000 divided by 14, which is 2,500 rupees. 1 unit is 2,500 rupees. If 1 unit is 2,500 rupees, then 9 units would be 22,500 rupees and 5 units would be 12,500 rupees. Therefore, the price of chair is rupees 12,500 and the price of table is rupees 22,500. Is that clear? Let us move on to the next question. 4,200 chocolates are distributed among 4 kids such that a fourth of what was given to the first kid, a sixth of what was given to the second kid, a eighth of what was given to the third kid, and a tenth of what was given to the fourth kid are equal. How much did each kid receive? Find the number of chocolates that each kid received, right? How much was given to the first kid, how much was given to the second kid, how much was given to the third kid, and how much was given to the fourth kid. This is what we are supposed to find. Can we think? Okay. Let us say A chocolates was given to the first kid, B chocolates were given to second kid, C chocolates were given to the third kid, and D chocolates were given to the fourth kid. Fourth of what was given to the first kid, that is A by 4. Sixth of what was given to the second kid, that is B by 6. Eighth of what was given to the third kid, that is C by 8. And tenth of what was given to the fourth kid, that is D by 10, are all equal. A by 4 is equal to B by 6 is equal to C by 8 is equal to D by 10. Now, to the extent possible, we want to avoid variables. Let us say all of these are equal to one entity x. Then A will be equal to 4x, B will be equal to 6x, C will be equal to 8x, and D will be equal to 10x. we know that the total number of chocolates distributed is 4,200. That is A plus B plus C plus D is 4,200. 4x plus 6x plus 8x plus 10x is 4,200. That means 28x is 4,200. X is 4,200 divided by 28. 4,200 divided by 28. How much is it, my friends? It is 150. X is 150. If X is 150, the first kid got A number of chocolates. A is 4X. 154 times 600. The second kid got 6x, that is 156 times 900. The third kid got 8x, 158 times 1200. And the fourth kid got 10x, 150 10 times 1500. Therefore, first kid got 600, second kid got 900, third kid got 1200, and fourth kid got 1500 chocolates. Simple. Let us move on to the next question. This is a simple question, but the way we think and the way we solve will become extremely easy if we understand it thoroughly. So pay emphasis. If A is to B is 2 is to 3 and B is to C is 5 is to 3, then find the ratio A is to B is to C. A is to B is 2 is to 3, B is to C is 5 is to 3. Find the ratio A is to B is to C. Now, it is like, let us say a bag filled with marbles is kept. There are three people, A, B and C, who are standing. Whenever B picks 3 marbles, A picks 2 marbles. Whenever B picks 3 marbles, A picks 2 marbles. Whenever B picks 5 marbles, C picks 3 marbles. So, B is continuously picking the marbles. A will be counting that the marbles picked by B in multiples of 3. The moment B picks the third marble, A will pick up 2 marbles. The moment B picks up the fifth marble, C will pick up 3 marbles. Right? So here the common factor is nothing but the number of marbles that B is taking. To make our life simple, because we want it to be an integer, the number of marbles that B takes has to be an integer, we can think that it is nothing but it has to be a multiple of 3, it has to be a multiple of 5. We want to deal with small values. Common number, multiple of 3 and 5, very small number. That means least common multiple of 3 and 5, LCM of 3 and 5, 15. That is, B has picked up 15 marbles, let us say. If B has picked up 15 marbles, then how will A count? A will be counting that B picked up 3 marbles. 3 marbles how many times? B picks up 3 marbles 5 times. So A will pick up 2 and 2 marbles 5 times, which means A has picked up 10 marbles. This person C will be visualizing as if B has picked up 5 marbles at a time. To get 15, 5 at a time, how many times does B pick up? B picks 5 marbles 3 times. So C will pick 3 marbles 3 times, which is C will pick up 9 marbles. Now what is the ratio of A is to B is to C? 10 is to 15 is to 9. That's it. That is as simple as it gets. Is that clear? Otherwise, we will have to consider, okay, let us say A is equal to 2x, B is equal to 3x. In the other case, let us say B is equal to 5y, C is equal to 3y. Then express x in terms of y and then do all the calculations. You will end up with the same answer of 10 is to 15 is to 9. But a simple conceptual understanding will make our life simple. Avoid variables, avoid fractions. Clear? Next. Number of men and women at a party were in the ratio 4 is to 7. That is, for every 4 men, there were 7 women who attended the party. After a while, 14 couples, that is husband and wife, came to the party. Now, the number of men and women at the party are in the ratio 5:7. What is the total number of people at the party now? Okay, let us look at the solution. See, number of men and women at the party were in the ratio 4:7. That is, if the number of men were 4x, then the number of women were 7x. Now 14 couples came. That is, the number of men now is 4x plus 14. Number of women now is 7x plus 14. The ratio of men to women, number of men to number of women now is 5:7. That is 4x plus 14 by 7x plus 14 is equal to 5/7. After this, it's all about simplifying and getting the answer. Cross multiply 7 into 4, 28x plus 7 into 14. You don't have to write down the exact value. Instead, just write 14 into 7. There is a reason that we need to write it this way. If we write it this way, it will be even more simpler. 14 into 7. 5 into 7, 35x plus 5 into 14. Let me write 5 into 14 as it is this way, right? Now 35x minus 28x, which is 7x, is equal to 14 into 7 minus 14 into 5. 14 7 times minus 14 5 times. That means 14 2 times. What is 14 2 times? 28. So 7x is 28. Means x is how much? X is 4. How many people are there at the party now? So 4x number of men who were there earlier, plus 7x number of women who were there earlier, plus this is a common mistake that people do. When we say in a hurry, you might add 14, but no, you have to add 28 because it is 14 couples, which is 28 people. So total number of people is 4x plus 7x plus 28. 4x plus 7x, which is nothing but 11x. 11x is 44. 44 plus 28. What is 44 plus 28? 72. So how many people are there at the party now? 72 people are there at the party now. Clear? Understood? Enjoying the class? Let's move on to the next question. A, B, C, D and E are integers satisfying the condition A is equal to 3B is equal to 4C is equal to 5D is equal to 12E. A is equal to 3B is equal to 4C is equal to 5D is equal to 12E. Find the ratio A is to B is to C is to D is to E. Find the ratio A is to B is to C is to D is to E. Right. Now, let us look at it. A is equal to 3B is equal to 4C is equal to 5D is equal to 12. If I want A is to B, that is A by B will be equal to 3 by 1. A by B is equal to 3 by 1. Now 3B is equal to 4C. So B by C will be equal to 4 by 3. Forget about everything else. Just concentrate on 3b is equal to 4c. When 3b is equal to 4c, that means b by c will be equal to 4 by 3. Now, forget about everything. Just concentrate on 4c is equal to 5d. That means c by d is equal to 5 by 4. Forget about the other. Now, look at it. 5d is equal to 12e. 5d is equal to 12e. D by e will be equal to 12 by 5. D by E will be equal to 12 by 5. Right? Now this entire whatever we have written can be represented as A, B, C, D, E. A is to B is 3 is to 1. B is to C is 4 is to 3. C is to D is 5 is to 4. D is to E is 12 is to 5. Now let me start from the right end. Same concept of just whatever marble concept that we were thinking. Same. So whenever E is 5, D is 12. See, when D is 4, C is 5. That is, when D picks up 4, C picks up 5. D has picked up 12. That means D has picked up 4 how many times? 3 times. So C would pick up 5 how many times? 3 times. 5 3 times means C is now 15. Whenever C picks up 3, B picks up 4. C has picked up 3 how many times to make it 15? C has picked up 3 5 times to make it 15. So B picks up 4 5 times to make it 20. Whenever B picks up 1, A picks up 3. Given that B has picked up 20, that means 1 1 how many times? 20 times. So A will pick up 3 3 3 how many times? 20 times. So A has picked up how many? 60. Therefore, what is the ratio of A to B to C to D to E now? 60 is to 20 is to 15 is to 12 is to 5. 60 is to 20 is to 15 is to 12 is to 5. Clear? Is that clear to everyone? Let us move on to the next question. Very interesting question. A simple question, interesting question. 5 monkeys can eat 5 bananas in 5 days. 5 monkeys can eat 5 bananas in 5 days. 20 monkeys can eat 20 bananas in how many days? And one of your answer option will be 20. And if you mark the answer as 20 in a hurry, you come out of the exam hall with a smile on your face, only to understand that that smile does not last long because that 20 is not right. If we think through, we will get the proper answer. For this, remember what we had seen, direct inverse and joint variation with respect to men, time, work. M into T by W is always a constant. Get it? M into T by W is always a constant, right? So when M into T by W is always a constant, if I use M into D or number of days, because number of hours has not been given, we consider same amount of number of hours per day that the monkeys are eating, right? So M1 D1 by W1 is equal to M2 D2 by W2. M1, 5 monkeys can eat 5 bananas, work done, which is 5 bananas in 5 days. 20 monkeys can eat 20 bananas in how many days? In X days. If you simplify, 5 and 5 gets cancelled, 20 and 20 gets cancelled, X is equal to 5 days. So 20 monkeys can eat 20 bananas in 5 days. 60 monkeys can eat 60 bananas in 5 days. 100 monkeys can eat 100 bananas in 5 days. Right? Is that clear? Other way of thinking quickly is 5 monkeys can eat 5 bananas in 5 days. Means, see, 5 monkeys have eaten 5 bananas, which means 1 monkey has eaten 1 banana. In how much time? In 5 days. 1 monkey can eat 1 banana in 5 days. One monkey can eat one banana in 5 days. So 20 monkeys can eat 20 bananas in 5 days. If you want to go even deep, the one monkey can eat one banana in 5 days. That means every monkey eats 1/5 of a banana per day. Every monkey eats 1/5 of a banana per day. So when I have 20 monkeys, if all the 20 monkeys eat 1/5 of a banana, that means 1/5 of 20, which is nothing but 4 bananas get over every day. When 20 monkeys are there, 4 bananas get over every day. So for 20 bananas to get over, how many days? 5 days. Same question can be solved in many different ways if we understand the concepts very clearly. That is why understanding the meanings of the terms is extremely important, my friends. Okay. Now, let us take a look at this question. A person gave away 3/5 of his wealth to his wife, 4/9 of the remaining to his son, and distributed the remaining among his two daughters in the ratio 13:7. Difference between what the son obtained and that obtained by daughter with maximum benefit is rupees 15,000. Difference between what the son obtained and that obtained by daughter with maximum benefit is rupees 15,000. Find the amount his wife obtained. Find the amount his wife obtained. If we resort to the traditional way of solving, this is how we solve. Now, what is this? Let us say the person had X rupees with him. How much did he give his wife? 3/5 of X. So, wife got 3/5X. Out of X, if I remove 3/5X, what is remaining? The remaining is 2/5X. Now, out of this remaining, 4/9 of this remaining 2/5X was given to his son. That is, 2/5X is one entity. 4/9 of this entity is given to his son. So, son got 4/9 of 2/5X. What is remaining? So, this is a place where most of the people might commit a mistake. 4/9 of 2/5X, if you simplify at this point, you will get it as 8/45X. And if you just say remaining is X minus 8/45X, which is nothing but 37/45X, then it is wrong, because the remaining is not X minus 4/9 into 2/5X, it is X minus 3/5X minus 4/9 of 2/5X. Or in other words, when the remaining was 2/5X, 4/9 of this 2/5X was given away to the son. So how much is remaining? 5/9 of 2/5X. Let us keep it that simple. So the remaining is 5/9 of 2/5X. How much was given to the daughter with maximum benefit? See, out of this remaining 5/9 of 2/5X, this money was distributed in the ratio 13:7. So, daughter with maximum benefit would have got 13 out of 20 parts. If the total was 20, then she would have got 13. The remaining is 5/9 into 2/5X. So, daughter with maximum benefit got 13/20 part of 5/9 into 2/5X. The difference between what the son obtained and what the daughter with maximum benefit obtained is rupees 15,000. That is 4/9 of 2/5X minus 13/20 into 5/9 into 2/5X is equal to 15,000. If we simplify, 5 and 5 gets cancelled out. 2 10 times is 20. 4 into 2, 8x/45 minus 13x/9 into 10, 90. 13x/90 is equal to 15,000. LCM of 45 and 90 is 90. So take the denominator 90. 45 became 90. So 8x becomes 16x. 16x minus 13x by 90 is equal to 15,000. 16x minus 13x, which is 3x, is equal to 15,000 into 90. What we need? 3x by 5. What is 3x by 5? 3x by 5 is 15,000 into 90 divided by 5. 5 3 times is 15. 3 9 times 27 followed by 4 zeros. That is, the wife obtained 2,70,000 rupees. Wife obtained 2,70,000 rupees. This is the way we solve in a traditional way. But if we use our understanding of the meaning of the term ratio, then we can think slightly differently. We can avoid variables, we can avoid fractions, and we can solve and get the answer very quickly. Let us see the quick way of solving it. See, I have not used any variables or fractions over here. Let us say person, wife, remaining, son, remaining, daughter 1, daughter 2. A person gave away 3/5 of his wealth. Let us understand, 3/5 of his wealth. I don't want to use fraction. So let us say the person had wealth in 5 suitcases. Why 5 suitcases? Because I want to avoid fraction. If the person had his wealth in 5 suitcases, how many suitcases will he give his wife? 3 suitcases. How many suitcases are left? 2 suitcases. Now forget about that thought for a minute. 4/9 of the remaining was given to his son. Let us say the remaining was nothing but 9 bags. Why 9 bags? I want to avoid fraction. So let us say remaining was 9 bags. If the remaining was 9 bags, how many bags were given to his son? 4 bags were given to his son. How many bags are left with him? 5 bags are left with him. Forget about this for a moment. Let us say what is left with the person at this point of time are 20 wallets, 20 exactly similar wallets. Why 20? Because the remaining was distributed among 2 daughters in the ratio 13:7. So let us say remaining was 20 wallets. If the remaining is 20 wallets, then how many wallets are given to his daughter 1? 13. How many to daughter 2? 7 wallets. Now, it is not fair to compare a suitcase with a wallet. Why? Because ratio is comparison of similar entities. I cannot compare a suitcase with a wallet. I cannot compare an elephant with an ant. I have to represent everything in same terms, similar entity. Therefore, I will start representing everything in terms of number of wallets. If daughter 2 got 7 wallets and daughter 1 got 13 wallets, the remaining at this point of time was 20 wallets. See, 5 bags is same as 20 wallets. 5 bags, 20 wallets. So 1 bag, 4 wallets. 1 bag is 4 wallets, means 4 bags would be 16 wallets. 9 bags would be 36 wallets. 2 suitcases is same as 36 wallets. 2 suitcases, 36 wallets. 1 suitcase therefore will be how much? 2 suitcases, 36 wallets. 1 suitcase, 18 wallets. So 3 suitcases, 54 wallets. The difference between what son got and daughter with maximum benefit got. Difference between what son got and daughter with maximum benefit got. That is 16 wallets and 13 wallets. What is the difference? 3 wallets is the difference. Now this 3 wallets has how much money? 15,000 rupees. If 3 wallets together have 15,000, then each wallet has how much? 5,000 rupees. If each wallet has 5,000 rupees, how many wallets did his wife get? 54 wallets. How much money did his wife get? 54 wallets, each wallet 5,000 rupees, 54 into 5,000, which is nothing but 270,000 or 2,70,000 rupees. Here, the amount of time that I spent was only to explain and make you understand the concept. But the amount of time spent for calculation is hardly one third of the amount of time that we would have spent by using x, 3 by 5, 4 by 9, all of those fractions. So using this method, how much ever time we took, we will take less than, or rather one third of that time to solve it in this fashion. Therefore, remember that use of fractions and use of variables make our life hell in mathematics. If we use both of them, we are in hell. If you use one of them, you are in between hell and heaven. If you neither use fractions nor use variables, you are in heaven. Therefore, that is the difference between hell and heaven as far as mathematics is concerned. Remember that. Okay. Now, let us recap and take away the key points. Understanding of the meaning of the term ratio, comparison of similar entities. What is proportion? Equality of ratios. Meaning of variation, comparison of related entities. What are the key takeaway? Always any question that we are solving, as much as possible, as far as possible, avoid use of variables, avoid use of fractions. Your life will be simple. Hope you enjoyed the session and understood the concepts. For more such sessions, subscribe to Unacademy. Please subscribe to Unacademy for more such sessions. What do you get when you subscribe to Unacademy? You get access to the daily live classes wherein you can chat with your educator, engage in discussion, ask the doubts. It is very similar to attending the class at a classroom. You get access to live tests and quizzes, and the courses are conducted in a structured way. And understand this, just one subscription, only one subscription will give you unlimited access to all the educators on the platform, You also get access to the live classes. You can go ahead and choose to attend the classes which are batch courses, wherein the entire syllabus will be covered, and you can watch the videos, recorded sessions at a time that works for you. Early in the morning, late in the evening, whatever time suits you, you can schedule it. Learn anywhere and anytime. Language is not a barrier because we have educators being well versed in different languages. You can interact with your educator, get your doubts cleared, you can answer the live polls, live tests, quizzes. You will be provided with a detailed report and analysis of every test that you take up, and you have huge number of tests at your disposal which you can attempt. You have access to learning material and the PDFs. All of this comes at a very reasonable subscription fee of just 18,900 rupees for a subscription for 24 months. Right? For 24 months, you get a subscription where you can just watch the videos, you can learn, you can understand. All of it only at a price of just 18,900 rupees. And that 18,900 rupees is the subscription fee if you use the code APUS. Remember the code APUS. Arjun Prasad Unacademy subscribe. APUS. Right? If you do not use, then you will have to pay 21,000. And another thing to note is, for a 24 month, the subscription is just 18,900. See, for 12 months, the subscription is 15,750 rupees. If you just add 1 month more subscription, you get a subscription for 24 months. Just by paying a subscription fee for just 1 month extra, you get a fee of 24 months, but you need to do that at the beginning when you are subscribing itself. Otherwise, for every month extension, you will have to keep on paying 3,150 rupees. Compared to that, you get a 75% off. Instead of paying 3,150 rupees for 1 month, you pay 3,150 rupees at the beginning itself. In addition to 15,750 rupees, you will get an access for 24 months. Clear? You can choose whichever option that you want, but value for money is 24 month subscription, right? Now, that said, hope you enjoyed the session and learned the meaning of ratio, proportion, and variation. Do subscribe if you would like more such courses. Do not forget the code APUS. Hope to see you soon again. Here is Arjun R. Prasad signing off. Thank you.